Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. Today is Monday, the 11th of September, 2023. That's right. It is September 11th, and being that I'm an American, I do find myself, remembering the events of September 11th, 2001. We talk about it a little bit every time we hit an anniversary. This is the 22nd anniversary of that. Actually, we talked about it a little bit at length yesterday because during my React show, DSP versus the Internet, someone had actually submitted a clip from the TSA, which is actually our security authority now in regards to travel in the United States. And they had actually posted up this montage of footage and recorded like audio of people on air traffic control and other, emergency frequencies kind of reacting to the events of September 11th, 2001. So I've actually kind of already talked about it yesterday. And if you want to have that reminiscing, I recommend that you check that out over on my sister channel, DSP Reacts. It was actually the first part of the show from yesterday. But on this day, we all take time to remember, right? You're never going to forget that day. It was, in my opinion, it was the first day where the United States in a very long time experienced the same kind of terror that the rest of the world feels pretty regularly. I remember growing up in the 80s and 90s feeling insulated. We had a few things, like a few bombings and things like that, but never a full-scale terror attack like we saw on that day. And since then, admittedly, I think we can all agree that American life changed. The way that you travel changed. The way that you look out for stuff changed. It'll never be forgotten, I don't think. It's going to be a day that lives sadly in infamy forever. And so today is the day that we remember those we lost. We remember those not only who were on the planes or in the towers, but those who were rescue workers who tried their valiantly best to save people that day. Those who lost their lives after the fact as a result of all of the debris and the soot and all of that crazy stuff that happened, because there's even reports that people who worked weeks and months after the fact got sick and have passed away since then as a result. So we take the time out to remember and and to hopefully pledge that kind of a thing will never happen again, right? Okay. Now let's move on to our regular business. Today is Monday. First of all, I don't have the air conditioner on, but it's already 79 degrees in my office. I have the door wide open. I have the fan on maximum blast. It's shady outside. The room's still 79. All right. So within a few minutes or by the end of the podcast, I very well might have to turn on the air conditioner. And if it happens, it happens. There's not much I can do about that. I was trying to avoid it. In fact, taking a look at the weather, it's kind of up in the air right now because according to our weather service, okay, it's claiming that we're supposed to have a week all in the 70s and then it's actually supposed to go down to the 60s next week. Now, if that's the case, that would be stupendous news. But they keep changing the forecast. At one point, they said that it was going to be in the 80s next week, and now they're back down to the 70s. They can't decide, okay? So because of that, I'm kind of stuck. Like, I would like nothing more than to get this air conditioner out of here, open up the window, be getting fresh autumn air coming through the window. That's probably going to do wonders for me and my sinuses. You know, yesterday I had a really rough day with post-nasal drip, and my throat was completely swollen and gunked up and not feeling good. Today, yeah, it's kind of more of the same. The post-nasal drip, I would say, is not as bad, and I did already take an allergy pill first thing this morning, so hopefully that kicks in sooner rather than later, so the nasal drip won't be a deal. But definitely the throat is still kind of shot and worn out. Luckily for me today, it's action day. And what I mean by that is today we're playing 2 action-based games, and that does mean that I will likely be doing less commentary, which is good. Yesterday was all commentary with the React show and then Starfield, so it was a rough one. But today might be a little different, okay? Anyway, the reason I tell you this is it affects things. You could probably hear the fan on full blast in the background because I'm trying to cool the room down with air circulation rather than with air conditioning. But if it continues to get hotter in here, I'm probably gonna have to turn it on. There's nothing I can do. And later this afternoon, you know, my wife will be home, and then Jasper will be getting out of here. Jasper's on the floor right now, and in that case, if I'm closing the door, I'll probably have to turn it on anyway. But I am hoping for the best. I'm hoping that within the next week we actually hit real autumn style weather, and when we do, that means that we can get this air conditioner out of here and start with more honestly better audio for me too. Because this whole summer season, when that air conditioner's on, it's very hard for me to hear through my neck phones. Like, there's been entire games where I can hear the dialogue, I can hear the sound effects, and I can barely hear the music. So, let's hope that sooner rather than later, the temps actually do dip here for good, and then we can adjust over to a better setup, okay? But that being said, welcome everyone to the show. Today, we got a variety of topics to discuss. We're going to recap some of the stuff that went down yesterday. We have 2 news stories today, both of which are kind of interesting. So we'll talk about that. And of course, as usual, we'll have some chill Q&A. So if you guys want to discuss any hot topics or anything that you feel is pertinent today that I missed, let's do it. Okay? So good stuff. So where do we begin on this lovely Monday? Well, I would say first off, let's start with kind of a recap of what we did yesterday and my opinions on what went down. All right, so first off, yesterday was the React show, DSP versus the internet over on DSP Reacts, okay? Now, admittedly, this month is going to be a slower month for my React content. The reason being, because we have already done several special events this year. I mean, just if you think about this year, all right? I launched the React channel in February, and since then, we've done a Pro Jared documentary React, a Wings of Redemption documentary React, an Internet Historian React, a long-scale React event about machinima. We just did my 15th anniversary React event, right? Now, in between those, we did other gaming events, too. We did the Fight and Feast, which was the celebration of Street Fighter. We did the DSP Digital Summer Party, which was a summertime kind of gaming party event. So, we had a good amount of special events this year so far. We have 3 lined up. We've got the October Halloween event, the November Adpocalypse event, and the December Christmas event. With all that lined up, there seems to be that people are kind of like, you know, this month for September, we should probably just kind of relax and not do a special event, because that's going to allow us to really focus on the new games coming out in the second half of the month, notably Mortal Kombat 1, Lies of P, continuing on with Starfield, and then the Street Fighter expansion at the end of the month. That's a lot of stuff to be tackling, and then taking time out for special events, you see? So, if we are not going to do a special event, that means that the React content that I do this month will be reduced. It's just going to basically be my Eclipse React show once a week on Sundays, okay? Which is fine. Some people have said, well, you're going to do anything else? Are you going to review a TV show or a movie? And I'm like, well, what would you want to see me review? I've tried over the course of this year to kind of randomly review movies and TV shows, and people don't seem to care. When I put out those videos, you know, they don't even get 1,000 views. You're talking like a few hundred views, and that's it. They don't really have an impact. So what's the point, unless you guys actually have something in mind, and people are like, no, not really. Well, an idea that I had is that moving towards the end of the year, once a week I can review a holiday-themed movie. So in October, once a week I review a horror movie. In November and December, once a week I review like a holiday-themed movie, right? That would make sense, you know, like a Christmas movie or something like that, or maybe a Thanksgiving. There's not many Thanksgiving movies, but there's a couple, right? So I think that'd be pretty cool. As for TV series, you guys haven't mentioned a single one to me besides One Piece, but I don't have Netflix, and I'm not going to get Netflix just for one show. If there was more on Netflix to watch, like let's say One Piece was out, and there was a new Stranger Things coming out, and there was another new thing coming out, then I would consider getting it. But for one show, it probably ain't worth it. So we'll see. All right. So this month, it just seems like things will be likely slow on the React channel. Okay. So yesterday we did the show. The way it works is that people who are channel members on DSP Reacts nominate clips, and I react to them. As usual, kind of a mixed bag, okay? And what I mean by that is, some of the stuff was good, some of the stuff was atrociously bad, and some was kind of meh. You know, we had some people still submitting dumb stuff like prank videos and stuff that aren't even funny and don't seem to make much sense at all. They're very much, especially out of context, they don't make any sense, you know, they're just dumb. And the TikTok stuff, I'll be honest, I think the TikTok stuff is so played out at this point. You know, last month we had people constantly submitting TikTok, so those are kind of dead. We had some interesting stuff, a couple cooking videos, a little bit of documentary style stuff, and I thought that stuff was interesting. So it's always a mix when it comes to what we do on that show, because once again, remember, it's a clip show. It's me watching these clips, so you're always going to get a bunch of stuff, a variety of stuff submitted. And also because it's from channel members, week to week we can have different members. People who are ultra members on that channel get their video clip watched for sure, but then you got the big mix of standard members who all submit their stuff, and it goes into a randomized playlist. So you never know what you're going to get from that playlist because it is in random order, a shuffle order on YouTube. So yeah, you know, I think it was a good show, and those clips will be going live over the course of the week. As of this morning, 3 should be live, and then 1 a day for the next 3 days over on DSP Reacts. Give it a look, and remember, the best way to support that channel is to become a member, because members are the ones who submit those clips, and also it's the ongoing membership revenue that really makes that channel viable. Sadly, I make nothing on those videos. Again, I uploaded, and I want to say out of the 6 videos I uploaded, 4 of them got flagged for unsuitable for ads. Oh, it didn't work here because it's on the other screen. I'm pretty sure it was like 4 out of the 6. So I submitted them for review, but it takes YouTube so long to review videos. It's absolutely ridiculous how long YouTube takes. They drag their feet so much in regards to that it could take weeks to get those videos approved for ads. Yeah, both videos that went live yesterday that people watched, both of them were not approved for ads. So any views on those videos yesterday, I got nothing. 0. And coming up, there's several more, yeah. So all I can do is kind of wait and see. All right? But please support the channel if you like that content. You know, apologies. There won't be that much React content this month. Oh, Jasper, get that out of your mouth. Hey, Jasper. Jasper! Jasper! Stop it. Jasper, stop right now. That's it. Jasper, stop right now. He pulled my equipment across the whole floor. What are you doing? Hey, stop it right now. Stop. Across the whole floor. Come on. No, you don't do that. Hey, no. You don't pull my equipment across the floor. Bad. That was bad behavior. Bad. Bad kitty. Bad. You don't do that. Why did you do that? It's the first time you've ever done that. And you're in here all the time, and now you're going to do this and misbehave. No, you're not. No. And now you're playing on the floor like nothing happened. Yeah, right. You are not to do that. No. Absolutely not. That was one of that's the first time he's ever done anything like that. He grabbed my headphone wire in his mouth, and he ran across the floor with it, and he pulled all the equipment off of my table onto the floor. No, you don't do that. So now, of course, he's ignoring me. He's rolling around on the carpet like nothing happened, because that's what he does. He tries to play it off. Oh, I didn't do nothing. That's exactly... that's how he is, you know? Anyway. Jasper, please stop. I didn't spray him, but I hope that because I yelled at him, he listens now. We'll see. If he keeps it up, I'm going to have to throw him out of the office, which I don't want to do. I like having him in here. He's usually not like that. I don't know why usually, every once in a while he'll chew a wire and I tell him to stop. And usually he doesn't pull my equipment across the floor. That was ridiculous. So hopefully he stops with this now. Okay. Now where the heck was I? I don't even remember. What was I doing? I was talking about the React stuff, right? Okay. So, yeah. This month, it'll be light on the React stuff. There's not much I can do about that. Once a week, we'll do the clip show. There's going to be a lot of gameplay this month of trying to get through all these new games, okay? So, please check out the React stuff if you're interested. And next month, there'll be a lot more. I'm thinking for October, here's my plans. Review one horror movie a week. Do a random night where I do a tier maker where we rank all the horror movie franchises against each other. So it'll be like, you know, The Exorcist versus Friday the 13th versus Saw versus Nightmare on Elm Street versus Halloween versus Child's Play versus Poltergeist, right? Like, how cool would it be to think about all these horror movie franchises and try to rank them all against each other? That'd be neat, I think. And especially pertinent for Halloween, obviously. So I think we'll do that next month as well. So we got some good special stuff going on next month. But this month, it's slower on the React end, a lot heavier on the gameplay end, okay? All right, anyway. So last night on the late stream, it was Starfield, all right? Now, I will be honest. You guys know, I'm transparent and honest with you guys. It seemed like a lot of the attention for Starfield completely died down last night. For example, it was a late night stream, admittedly, but we did do a late night stream of it last week, too, that did good. Didn't do very good. It was a slower attendance, much slower engagement. And what I mean by that is there were people sitting in the chat who were literally just ignoring the stream entirely. And I was like, why are you here? Right? Like, you know I'm here to play Starfield tonight. If this isn't what you like, why are you here on the stream pretending like there's no stream? Talking with everyone as if this is like your private chat room. It's not. You know what I mean? And the thing is, I'm not going to shut down conversations, but at the same time, I'm streaming for a reason. I want to play the game. I want to share my experience with all of you. And when the vast majority of the viewers are ignoring the game, obviously there's an issue there. And the funny part is, Starfield really is in line with all other Bethesda games. So if you guys like Bethesda games, which you do, and you have voted over the last 3 years, each year for me to play a new Bethesda game. First it was Fallout New Vegas and all of its DLCs. Then it was Skyrim and all of its DLCs. And recently it was Oblivion and its major DLC. And you guys were okay with that. But now I'm playing the new game and people are going to disengage. Like, that really throws me for a loop. That really confuses me. Why would you not like the new game? But, you know what I'm saying? So, it did. Now, keep in mind, this was the first time ever that ever happened during a Starfield stream. And I've done, what, like 6 Starfield streams? So, I don't know if it was just a one-off bad night. I don't know if people are actually getting burned out and not caring about Starfield anymore. I guess we'll find out tomorrow, all right? Now, here's the truth is, with all the new games coming out, Mortal Kombat 1, Lies of P, we're going to have to take Starfield and essentially make it a night stream at some point anyway. Like, that's going to happen. That's coming, where it's going to end up having a lot of night stream sessions. Maybe one day stream a week, but mostly night streams, because that's the kind of game it is, right? It's a lengthy RPG. I think everyone expected that was going to happen. There was no way we were going to beat Starfield within September. So I think everyone was kind of expecting that the game was going to end up being shifted to a late night chill stream anyway. So with that happening, people have to get used to it being on the late shift, and I hope that people do. You know, I've enjoyed playing it so far. I told you, when we're playing it as a Bethesda game, it's great. When we're trying to play it as a new entity, it's not very good. I'll give you an example. Last night, all the time that I was exploring, because I was exploring multiple new settlements, you know, got to a major new city, we were doing questing there, interesting lore and everything. That was great, because that's what Bethesda does good. Then for one mission, they said, oh, you have to go take out a bunch of bandits in space. And they made you do a 3-on-1 space combat fight. The problem is, the space combat in the game is atrociously bad. Even the ship that I have, I don't have the starter ship. I have a ship that I found called the Razor Leaf that's supposed to be good. It has like higher stats for weapons and stuff. It still sucks. Basically what happens is you start to fight one ship, the other two go right behind you and just pummel you with lasers, and there's nothing you can do. There is no evasive action in Starfield. All you can do is try to boost, which doesn't really work, and then you get destroyed. So anytime the game asks you to fight more than one opponent, literally you need to have an overpowered ship. It's the only way to actually effectively fight them fair, because outside of that, they just stand there and pummel you, and there's no flares that go out that distract their missiles or shots. There's no loop-de-loops. There's no barrel rolls. There's nothing to evade. So you just stand there and get hit. Wow, that was real genius of them, wasn't it? A 3-on-1 fight required for the story, and the only way to beat it without difficulty is to overlevel your ship. Wow, that's stupidity. That's what I mean. Like, these new things they added just aren't good. These new elements suck. The piloting in the space and the space combat is terrible. The world exploration is boring as dirt. But everything else that's Bethesda-esque that they've done before, they did well. So anyway, we did get through it. We did get through that combat segment. It took me like 20 minutes of me retrying, and essentially what I had to do was kind of get one ship separated from the other two by luck. It wasn't like I tried. It was just by luck, by fighting it, I kind of pulled it away. So I was able to take out the one. And then when it was 2v1, it was at least a lot better. And I was able to take down the second one. And then the third one was child's play. You see? So what are you going to do? It was, in my opinion, not great, right? But everything else about the stream was good. You know, we arrived at a new settlement called Neon. And this one is like very reminiscent to like Cyberpunk 2077, except no sex. It's a lot of neon lights and a lot of criminals and stuff like that. But outside of that, you know, it's a lot of talking and doing a lot of missions, and I did a lot of the persuasion, which was good. I leveled up my persuasion and stuff like that. So I did enjoy it when we were doing those segments, you see? So I don't know. Like I said, it really felt to me like this was the first part of, or the first stream of the game where people just did not seem engaged at all. They were actually like actively not paying attention to the game. They weren't even talking with me. That's not good. The whole point of me playing an open world RPG is the whole interaction segment of it. Like, that's the point. That's why it's good. If I'm going to play it for myself, then what's the point? I want to play it with you guys as an audience. So I don't know what happened, but I'm hoping that the next time I play it on Tuesday that it's different. You know, we've been having great interactive streams up to this point. For some reason last night that changed, and I'm kind of confused as to why, you know. Okay, anyway, so yesterday overall, decent content, I would say, and support was all right. It wasn't great, it wasn't terrible. We did hit one of the tiered tips goals. I told you my goal this week is every day we hit at least a tier 1 tips goal on one of my 2 streams. We did hit it on the earlier stream. We got a bunch of memberships, as you can see. We actually got our memberships above 600. Excellent. That was my goal. Remember, I said my goal for the week was to hit 600 members by the end of the week. Now we've done that. The question is, can we retain that? Because remember, at any given moment, gifted memberships from last month can expire, and then we dip. So I'm hoping that we keep it above 600 by the end of the week. So that I was pleased with that. You know, overall, not a bad day at all. Even though there was disengagement there on the Starfield stream, which I hope we could turn around, I still had a good time. Okay? Okay. Continuing on here, let's talk about today's action-based day. All right? So first stream today is Armor Core 6. Continuing on with my new tank build that I just started using last time. What a varied build I have now. So I've got tank treads that are very fast. I've got a stun needle cannon that essentially is fast and it hits for tons of damage or massively increases their stun meter to the point where their shields are reduced and they're getting, you know, about to be blasted by everything else. I've got a homing missile launcher, which is really good because while everything else is going on, you know, it's hard to aim, and just to be able to fire something off quickly that you know is guaranteed to hit because it's homing is really useful. Then I've got the minigun in one arm and a regular machine gun in the other. So I've got a good variety in the weapons I'm using, and so far they are working well. Like, I adopted that build about halfway through last time's stream, and it seemed to be doing really well in Chapter 4, which is where we are. Now, I don't know how much further we have in Chapter 4. I've been told the game has 5 chapters, and we at least beat 3 or 4 stages of Chapter 4. I've also been told that the boss of Chapter 4 is incredibly tough and essentially is a roadblock or difficulty road bump for people. Much like how Baltius was earlier in the playthrough, apparently the end of Chapter 4 is another one. So we'll see what happens and how it goes today. There is no other side content to do in the game. I've done all of the arena missions. They're all done. So it's all just story here on out, which means we could focus just on story progression and see how far we get on today's 3-hour stream. Hell, if we get into Chapter 5, I'd be ecstatic because that means we're kind of in the home stretch of the game, right? So there you go. Cool. All right. Yeah, the Starfield dogfight from yesterday, I want to say that was the beginning of the second part from yesterday. I think. I think so. I think it was either the very end of part 18 or the very beginning of part 19 or a combination of the two. It was right between there, if you want to give it a look, okay? So Greg says, here's the deal. Chapter 4 is longer in terms of mission count. The end of chapter boss is a test for sure, but there was a recent patch that actually made it easier. Chapter 5 has harder missions, but is shorter in general. Okay. So I think we're 3 or 4 missions into Chapter 4. Maybe today's entire stream will be Chapter 4 then. And we beat it, and then maybe next time for Chapter 5, maybe we beat the game, right? I guess we'll see. Okay, anyway, good information. Thank you, Greg. So that's the first stream today. Progress in Armored Core 6, and hopefully continuing on with this build. It's funny because I was thinking about it, and I was like, what else could they do? I now have changed from legs to the tetrapod to the tank treads. I've changed from like machine guns to laser guns, right? To a plasma gun to mini guns. I changed my rocket launchers from just basic missiles to like plasma missile launchers to super heavy songbirds, and now I've got a combination of a stun cannon and homing missile. Like, what else could they do? We're in Chapter 4. There's still another chapter left. What other parts could possibly unlock that'll be better than this? I wonder. You know, I'm wondering, is it even worth it to try other parts, or should I just stay the course with my build that I have right now? You know, I don't know. We'll see as we continue to play. Hopefully there are other things to unlock. I just don't know if they'll be any better than what I have. So, now on tonight's late stream, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time, it is Street Fighter 6 time, and in reality, this is kind of the home stretch for Street Fighter 6 for now. And what I mean by that is, obviously, once Mortal Kombat 1 comes out this Friday, I'll be playing a lot of that for a couple of weeks. It'll be a focus for a couple of weeks to get through the story and whatever other modes and a little bit of online play till we kind of get back to Street Fighter 6, okay? So, Street Fighter 6 tonight, Lily ranked gameplay. When we played with Lily on Friday, I basically got right to Diamond with her ranked matches, and then within an hour, went from Diamond 1 star to Diamond 2 star. So tonight, I'm hoping to keep that momentum going. I don't know if it will. I think as we face more top tiers, like for example, I think Jury completely dominates Lily. I don't think Lily can do a damn thing against Jury. I think Jury, everything she does counter hits her and just has better priority and better speed. So there's not much you can do in that regard besides just take your licks or get lucky. But we'll see tonight how it goes. I'm excited for more Lily. You guys want more Lily because on Friday I did so well. People have been requesting more Lily, more Lily. So that's why we're going back to Lily, okay? Hey, we can go from 2 to 3 star tonight. Diamond, that would be really good. We'll see. Then tomorrow, it's back to RPG Day. Starfield will be on the daytime stream, so hopefully Starfield will do better as a daytime stream than it did as a night stream yesterday. Maybe we'll have more engagement. That would be great. And then tomorrow night, Chrono Trigger Endgame. And what I mean by that is we're trying to finish up this Lost Sanctum optional content that was added for the DS version. I don't know how much is left, okay? But I think we're going to beat that, and then we're probably going to be able to beat the game because the ending of the game has one dungeon, which is, if I remember correctly, it's about an hour long. And then you've got the final boss, which takes about a half an hour. So as long as we can beat the Lost Sanctum within like an hour, I think we'll beat Chrono Trigger tomorrow night. We'll see. And then Wednesday is completely up in the air. If you guys want more Starfield, we'll do more Starfield on Wednesday. If it looks like we can beat Armored Core 6, then we'll probably try to beat that on Wednesday. If, you know, you want Street Fighter Wednesday night, we can do that. Or if you want a combination of, say, Starfield and Armored Core, or Armored Core and Starfield, we can do that. Like, I'm down for whatever. So I'm listening to your feedback. What do you guys want this coming Wednesday for my final streaming day of the week before I take Thursday off for break? So give me your feedback. Please let me know. Love to hear feedback from my audience, obviously, on what you guys want. So please share. Okay? Cool. All right. So really, guys, that's all I got. We're going to go to gaming news in a moment. But before we get to gaming news, I'd like to remind you all that DSP Gaming and, you know, my content in general on YouTube is crowdfunding. This is not anything where I get sponsorships, partnerships. I don't shill products. I don't run ads frequently in my content, right? I mean, we watch a stream, you probably see one ad break a stream. I don't play games and get paid to do so. Many other content creators over the last 10 years have completely changed their models to adopt all of this advertisement content to make ends meet. I don't do that. I make a living based on your crowdfunding. You like the content I put out because you appreciate the fact that I don't flood my stuff with ads and crap, and because I'm honest in my content as a result, you fund it. Thank you for that. I like being true to myself after 15 years still being here and still being the guy who has passion for games, and that's why I sit here and play games with you guys every day, because I love it, right? Not because I'm making a buck doing it and I'm taking a fucking sponsorship payment, but because we love the gaming and we enjoy spending time together, okay? So thank you for crowdfunding my content. I really appreciate that. Now, would you like to know how to support it? Number one, you could like the streams, you could like the videos, you could leave comments on the videos, you can talk with me on the streams. All that's engagement. That helps the channel. If you want to go above and beyond that, things like super chats, super stickers, memberships, gifted memberships, and tips all help a lot. Now, as I stated, this week, my goals were 600 members. We already hit that. Any more members? Hey, I'm happy. That will help me in the long term. Thank you. For now, my focus really has to be on tips. Last week, I had a very, very slow week for tips. So far, this week has been pretty good. My goal this week is very simple. Once a day, hit the tier 1 tips goal. That's all I'm looking for, okay? If we go above that, that's even better. But if we can hit this goal once a day, I'd be happy. So far this week, we've done that for the first 3 days. So we can keep that movement going, that pattern going. I would be very happy, okay? So if you're thinking of contributing today, anything's appreciated. And no matter what you do to contribute, I'll give you a shout out. But I would say the preferred way to contribute today, if you can, is a tip. Let's see if we can hit not one. Can we hit multiple tips goals? Can we actually get like a hat on stream today? That would be cool to actually have, you know, you guys picking a hat for the first time in ages to see me wear today for the Armor Core stream. Okay? So let's see what happens with that. But please consider contributing. Thanks in advance to anyone who does. And that's that. Let's move on to your favorite segment. My favorite segment. Everyone's favorite segment. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for DSP News. Hot off the presses. These pages are white hot. That's why they're white. And they're burning the skin off of my fingers as we speak. Are you ready for this hot gaming news? I hope you are, because I know I am, all right? So starting off with the first story today. Last week, we talked a little bit about a company called Embracer Group. Now, normally, you'd be like, who the hell is that? Well, a few years ago, Embracer Group just started buying up games and gaming in development studios. For example, they bought Volition and its parent company, the company that was making Saints Row. They bought a bunch of other game studios as well. Now, this is an investment group. So people are like, why is an investment group buying up video games? Did someone dance in front of them with a presentation saying video games are the new hotness and therefore you must buy these up? They're the future? Who knows? Because it was very odd the way that they did it. It didn't seem like they had a strategy. They were just buying up game studios left and right. Okay? And at the time, a lot of people were very skeptical if they even knew what the hell they were doing. Well, last week it was announced they closed Volition. The makers of Saints Row are out of a job. There's no more Saints Row games, no more anything from Volition, Red Faction, franchise, all gone. Why? Because they bought Volition. Last year they came out with the new Saints Row. It flopped. Well, that's it. And they liquidated them. They're done. They're all fired. Okay? So obviously that's horrible news, right? This morning we get some more news. It's not confirmed yet, but it sounds like it also could be in the realm of what the hell. Embracer Group is attempting to sell Gearbox Software. For those who don't know, Gearbox Software is the company that made the entire Borderlands franchise and most of its spin-offs. They bought it a few years ago, get this, for something like $1.6 billion. Now you might say, wait a minute. $1.6 billion. That's what Borderlands was valued at. Think about it, okay? Borderlands. When Borderlands came out over a decade ago, it was very popular. Borderlands 2 was very popular. It got so popular, there was spin-offs. Remember, there was the pre-sequel, and then there was the Telltale games, narrative-based game, and all of that, right? So, at one point, I can understand the IP was hugely valued. But then Borderlands 3 came out. And when Borderlands 3 came out, definitely it was kind of wishy-washy response, right? Let's be honest here. People weren't in love with Borderlands 3 like they were with the first 2 games. In addition, they had that spin-off, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, which, it did okay, didn't sell droves, and ended up being on those digital services. Like, remember, it was on as a big preview. You could play the first few hours of it on PS Plus, Premium, and stuff like that. So, essentially, since Borderlands 3, I would say Gearbox Software's value has gone down, and most people to these days don't really talk about Gearbox. See, Lucky Gremlin just brought up something. He says, oh yeah, remember they bought out Duke Nukem? Yeah, remember? They bought out Duke Nukem, and they released Duke Nukem Forever in 2011. And at that time, they announced they were going to do other things with the Duke Nukem franchise. Guess what? It's 2023. And there hasn't been any new Duke Nukem content in the last 12 years. So, what exactly is the value of Gearbox? Why would an investment firm pay something like $1.6 billion for this company when they actually haven't put out anything in many, many years that had critical acclaim or people were really crazy for, right? In addition to that, did you know, here's an interesting one. Did you know last year a new Borderlands game released? Yeah, it was last fall during the busy autumn gaming season. It was called Tales from the Borderlands 2. Yeah, there was a whole new narrative-based Tales from the Borderlands game, and no one knew. No one paid attention. No one played it. It massively undersold, and that's why you haven't heard anything about it, because they kind of brushed it under the rug when no one really spoke of it. So, that's what I mean. Like, this franchise hasn't been talked about in so long. So, when they're not pumping out new games, no one's talking about them, why on earth did they get bought for such a high valuation? It makes me really feel like this Embracer Group didn't know what the hell they were doing. So now there's talks that Embracer Group really wants to dump them. Like, not, oh, we want to sell them for a profit. No, they actually just want to dump them. They want to get them out of their group because they don't feel like they're going to do anything profitable at any time soon, and they don't want to have this big lump of investment sitting on them, drawing resources that they're not doing anything with. So they're trying to sell them off, and the rumor is that if they can't sell them off, they may go the route of what they did with Volition and actually just get rid of them all. Now, I think that would be insane. They paid almost $2 billion. So what might happen, perhaps Gearbox would try to do something and go indie. I don't know how that would work. How would they operate as an independent studio? I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of how the business world. I don't know what kind of resources Gearbox is looking at, or if they even have any games in the pipeline, because they haven't mentioned anything in ages. What are they doing right now? That's a good question, right? They haven't announced the new Borderlands. They haven't announced any new spin-offs. What exactly are they working on right now? I don't know. So, I guess we'll have to see, but it's a strong rumor that Gearbox is the next on the chopping block here for Embracer Group. That Embracer Group really didn't know what they were doing years ago when they bought up all these companies, and now it's coming back to bite them. What do they say? The chickens have come back to roost. What's the word? There's a word or a phrasing, a saying. I can't remember exactly what it is, right? So, yeah, so what are they going to do? I don't know. The thing is, Gearbox has a great history, and I feel like Gearbox could make good games again. But the question is, would it be Borderlands, or do they have to do something different? I mean, when you've waited this long and there's no new games coming out of the studios, it's the chickens have come home to roost. Okay, the chickens have come home to roost. There's the saying. Thank you very much to Zen Shuriken. I think they need to do something, man. They got to work on something new to reinvigorate the studio. Maybe come up with a new game. I don't know. But then again, how do you do that when you're going to get cut? Right? Okay. So that is story number 1. All right. Story number 2 for today. This one's hot off the presses, if you're not aware. So, how many of you know a game called Mario Kart? Have you heard of this game before? I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to guess that most of my viewers know the game Mario Kart, okay? So, I actually have been a strong critic of Mario Kart in the last decade. And if you don't know why, it's very simple. Because Nintendo literally hasn't released a new Mario Kart game in a decade, okay? So they had the one on the Wii, and that one did really well, okay? Then when the Wii U came out, they came out with Mario Kart 8. Now, admittedly, the Wii U, one of the biggest failures Nintendo ever did, although you wouldn't have known that at the time because they didn't act like it, but basically, every game that was a Wii U exclusive got underperformed, low sales. And so what Nintendo did is they decided, hey, we're going to take every single game that was on the Wii U, and rather than make a new game, we're just going to port it to the Switch. Because everyone bought the Switch, no one bought the Wii U, so let's have them play the games they missed. So they ported Donkey Kong games, they ported Mario games, and one of the things that was not one of the exceptions here was Mario Kart. So Mario Kart 8, which originally came out as an early title for the Wii U pretty much almost a decade ago, was ported to the Switch early on, right? It was only within like the first 1 or 2 years of the Switch, you know, a few years ago. Or what was it, 2017, 2018, something like that. And so this game's been out for a long time. Now, people are like, well, it's the same game as the Wii U with better graphics, so what's the big deal? So Nintendo announced a roadmap. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to release a string of content that's going to bring you all new expansion maps and all this stuff. In reality, what Nintendo did, they just added in all the maps from previous Mario Kart games. They really did. Like, if you take a look at all the maps that have been added over the last several years, it's just all the old fan favorite stuff. So in reality, it's kind of like a fan service deal, which I get. It kind of makes, oh, if you love Mario Kart, this is the ultimate Mario Kart to own because you can play the one from the Wii U you never played with better graphics, plus you get all your fan service maps and all of that, right? So, great, but all along, you know, the Switch has been out, and we're like, well, when is there going to be a new Mario Kart? Like, there still hasn't been in like almost a decade now. What is going on? It's a very popular franchise. Are they ever going to release a new game, right? So finally, an announcement was made overnight by Nintendo, you know, the Mario Kart social media update team officially, that basically the final slew of content for Mario Kart 8 is being released in late October. That's it. And it'll basically be a few more kind of tours and waves of content, ending with a big Halloween event. And it said right after that, any future content will just be rehashed content. Nothing new will ever be added to Mario Kart 8 ever again. So essentially, Halloween event is the final event they're doing for Mario Kart 8. Now, if you put 2 and 2 together, you could probably figure out why, because it seems like finally they've milked the cow so much that the cow is dry. You see? I think it's time, finally, for Nintendo to make a new Mario Kart game a decade later. Hallelujah, because I'll be honest, I didn't even really like Mario Kart 8 that much. So, finally, it sounds like they'll be redirecting their development team efforts towards making a new Mario Kart. Now, the thing is, there's already rumors that the Switch 2, yes, that's what they're calling it, even though it's probably not what they will call it, the Switch 2 dev kits have already been sent out to game developers. And game developers have started now to work on developing for the Switch 2. So does this mean that Mario Kart 9 will be a launch title for the Switch 2 within the next couple of years? Probably. I would doubt they're going to try to rush out a Mario Kart 9 for late in this life cycle of the Switch. Which means, essentially, if you're someone who bought every single piece of content, all right, for Nintendo, I should say, you're going to be very disappointed, because it feels like, for me, I have, and in the last decade, I feel like it's been Mario Kart, Mario Kart, Mario Kart, Mario Kart, Mario Kart, 8. Always 8, right? It's like, when is 9 coming out? I don't know. But anyway, I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future, and hopefully it does mean that, yes, they are actually developing Mario Kart 9. I would love that. I would absolutely love that if that was the case. But I'm waiting. Give me new Mario Kart. I don't want Mario Kart 8 again and again and again. I don't want any more expansion content, right? Okay. All right. That's really it for our gaming news for today. That was the wrong button. There we go. So thanks for listening. And normally, this would be the point where I would say, hey, everyone, it's time for shout-outs. So let's do shout-outs for all of your contributions, and let's see what you guys are up to today. I received 0 contributions today. 0. I have no tips. I have no super chats. I have no memberships. So because of that, I have nothing to shout out today. This is just me being honest. I'm not complaining. I think this is, normal. I would do that. We have nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I guess instead of that, what we're going to do is I'm going to open it up and we're going to have a little bit of a talk. Like I said, I didn't have too much to talk about today. So if you guys have topics to speak about, let's talk about them, shall we? Okay. What's up, Juan? Okay. Thank you to Adam. Adam, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate that. First contribution of the day. Appreciate that. Okay. It is your birthday. Well, happy birthday to Moxerus. If indeed it is really your birthday, have a good one. Hopefully you have some special stuff planned, right? No, I have not seen any Starfield mods. Only very, very... Every once in a while, there's something's on Twitter, but I don't really pay attention too much to it. Danny the DK, I have no idea what you're talking about. Duck Doe winning Evo. What are you talking about? In the mid-2000s? Early 2000s? You're talking about 20 years ago? I don't know what you're speaking of. Okay? Thoughts on Starfield banning mods? Well, you would think that not all mods would be allowed, because immediately what's going to end up happening is people will start doing mods that are really, really stupid. Nudity mods and licensed IPs that should not be in Starfield because they'll get sued mods, that kind of crap. So I'm not surprised that they wouldn't just leave it open for everyone to do whatever, because then you're leaving yourself open to lawsuits and liability. So, but again, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what mods you're trying to say don't apply here. Okay. I received a dollar tip from Snow Carl. He says, I love your new shirts. Have they added intended professionalism and elevated your streams? No, that's not the point. I only started wearing them because I bought one as kind of a silly joke for the digital summer party at the beginning, or was it the end of July? And people seemed to like it. They said, oh, I like that you look a little different wearing a different wardrobe. Can you do that? And I said, well, I'm not going to completely change my whole wardrobe, but we can variate. So maybe some days I'll wear shirts like this, and some days I'll go back to the gaming t-shirts. As I told you, what I'm planning on doing this fall, once the weather gets cooler, what I would like to do is have the window open all the time for fresh air. And if it gets cold in here, I'm going to wear long sleeve shirts. I actually have some nice long sleeve button down shirts that I've owned for years. And I usually would wear those in the fall. I would wear those out, but I could actually wear it on stream. I think you guys would like that. That's stuff I don't have to spend any money. I have those shirts already that I could wear. So, you know what they say? Variety is the spice of life. If you just do the same thing forever, the same, people won't like it. Well, in last year, look at the changes I have had. Better camera, better backlighting, better front lighting, right? All kinds of new artwork and decorations and setup changes. I've improved the podcast. I've improved my layout. I've improved the capture device and the quality of both the streams and the videos. And now, further going on, improving my wardrobe, improving all of this, right? So hopefully you like the improvements. If anything, the one thing people can't argue is say that I haven't improved. I mean, how can you say I haven't improved in the last year? Watch a video from 1 year ago. Watch it today. Either gameplay, podcast, or both. You'll be like, what the hell? Whoa, what a change, what a difference, what an improvement, right? And that's a good thing. Always look to improve based on feedback. So thanks for your feedback. Thank you to Spawn Killer, who did a $5 super chat. Do you remember the mech game where you had a giant controller and a foot pedal? Weren't there more than one? Right? Like, I think, didn't that all start with that game Mech Warrior on PC? Where you had a big ass setup to play it? I want to say it had like a bunch of buttons, and each one would like enable or disable missiles and different weapons. And there was a joystick to pilot it. But you're right, there was like a foot pedal, and that would give you throttle and stuff. And I used to see those in gaming stores all the time, back when PC gaming of that style was the rage. But I haven't seen that in a million years. So. Okay, was it Steel Battalion? See, I thought it was Mech Warrior, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, I wasn't into that stuff. Okay. Alright, I received a $1 tip again from Snow Carl. Do you regret skipping Baldur's Gate 3, considering how well and popular it is compared to other releases like Starfield? No. Baldur's Gate 3, again, it's the same as Divinity Original Sin 2. It's a great game for a certain style of audience. Sadly, that's not my audience. It's not. A game like that likely would have lasted 2 streams, and people would have said, what is this? It's so boring. It's so slow paced. It's so boring. It's not the kind of combat we like. Why is it top down? Why is everything so small? You know, I'm telling you, it's a PC gamer's game. I'm not a PC gamer. You know, if I had that style of audience, I think it would have worked. I don't have that style of audience. I very much have a very console-centric audience. You understand? I gave games like that a shot, and they don't really work. So I would say, in the long term, would I consider maybe playing it? Maybe. But I knew, especially trying to play it right between this, you know, fall gaming season, I didn't think it was going to work. Okay? So that's why I made that decision. I don't think it was a bad decision. Moxverse just did a super chat. Sharing my B-Day love, I appreciate you. It's my 26th birthday, about the same age you were when you started on YouTube, I believe. Thank you. Yes. I was 26, 27. I mean, technically I was 26, but I didn't start doing regular videos till I was 27. There you go. Have a good day. I hope you're doing something very special for your birthday. Remember, my philosophy on birthdays is the following. As you get older, your birthday's going to feel less and less special. Why? Because it just becomes another day. You've got so much going on in your adult life, whether it's work, school, bills, family, responsibilities, whatever it may be. Sadly, a lot of the times you don't even get to celebrate your birthday. It's been like that for me for a while now, okay? Now, here's the important thing. On your birthday, take the moment to do one thing for yourself, whether it's simply having a piece of food that you like, or having a drink and toasting, you know, the fact that you're still alive, right? Maybe it's having a moment with your loved one, a special moment, right? An embrace, a kiss, right? Whatever it may be, have one moment that day that's for you for your birthday. And that can be the moment that you keep in your head and you remember what you did on your birthday that year. Because then at least you did something nice, right? Even if the rest of the day is atrociously bad, you could say, I did one thing for myself on my birthday and I deserved it. That's my advice. That's my mantra that I've lived by for many years. Spawn Killer did another super chat, and he says, back in the day, that setup cost over $200. You're right. Those were very expensive setups. I remember you would go to like a computer store back when they existed, because there used to actually be PC stores. They don't really have them anymore. And what would they have there? Giant driving wheels for the PC racing games, the big joystick for the flying games, and then the hybrid like gun, pedal, keyboard setups for the mech games. And all of those things ranged anywhere from the cheapest would be like $50, but you would range up to $200, $300 for those setups for those games. Now, I never played any of them. Maybe they were great, maybe they weren't, right? But yeah, it was a huge thing back then. Gaming peripherals for PC were giant at one point. So, and then we got Heterosexual Operations did a super chat. Well, thank you so much to Heterosexual Operations. What a great name. I'm just going to call you HSO for short, because that's way too long of a name to throw up on my leaderboard. Okay. All right, continuing on here. King B. Cruel has tipped $1. When can we get the Final Fantasy 13 playthrough? A lot of people have been asking for it to be re-uploaded. I know I've been asking for a good while. Yeah, I know. And, you know, I feel like it was a big forget. Like, we forgot about it. I was very interested in doing it over the summer. And I think what happened is this ended up being a very busy summer compared to previous summers. And I'll be honest, it just slipped my mind. I didn't even think about doing it. I think the determination we came to is that we can't upload that retro lost media to DSPGaming. It would flood the channel. It would upset the viewers. We already got, you know, enough issue with views. I don't think that we need to be flooding the channel with more videos. So I think the determination would be trying to rebrand another channel, like maybe KO Gaming, which has been defunct for years, and maybe rebrand it under a new banner and make it kind of like the Lost Media channel. You could start with maybe Final Fantasy 13, then move into Red Dead, then move into Undead Nightmare, then move into LA Noire. You know what I mean? So I'll think about it right now. I'll be honest, I don't really have time to do it. What I would have to do, hold on a second. I would have to take some time to get back, you know, into that channel, take a look, make sure that it's still accepting videos and monetizing them, because that's another thing. You know, at one point that entire channel was red flagged and no videos got ads. Now at least the videos on that channel get ads again. Okay, so maybe do like a demo video. You know what I mean? Like upload a test video and say, hey everyone, just so you know, I have some plans for this channel again, and I'm curious what you think. Does anyone still watch videos on this channel? Like, I'm curious, if I upload a video to KO Gaming, how many views would it get? 5? Because no one looks at the channel anymore, right? So I guess it'll be an interesting test, but to see what happens. If I remember to do it, maybe I'll actually do it like this week to do like a test video. We'll see. I'll have to think about it. But thanks for the reminder and thank you for the tip. Nathan Smith just gifted a membership and it went to Danny the DK. So congrats to Danny. And thank you very much, Nathan, for your support of the channel. I really appreciate that. We're now up to 615 members and climbing. Thank you, thank you. Let's see here. Continuing on. I just received a $1 tip from Snow Carl. He says, I think your birthday advice is great and inspiring. Considering how your and Kat's situation improved in the past year or two, do you think you'll soon be able to have some sort of a honeymoon trip? Here's the thing. We'd love to do that, but there's a few factors involved. All right? There's 4 big factors. There's my job, her job, money, and family. Factor number 1, my job. Let's be honest. My job's flexible. As long as it's not in the middle of, like, this busy gaming season, there's definitely times during the year where if I needed to take, like, a week off, I could do that. Now, that'll hurt me, because the day I don't work is the day I don't make money. So maybe what we could do is, like, do a special event or something building up and saying, hey, so I'm going on vacation, and it would be great to do a little bit of special, maybe fundraising or something right before it to make up for a week that I'm not working, all right? And I'll be honest, I think that my fans would support that. I think the fact that I don't go on vacation, the fact that I don't ever significantly have time off, that my fans would actually appreciate that and, you know, support some of that. I do believe that, okay? So my job, not so big of a deal. Her job, maybe a bigger problem. To try to get significant time off and not have it affect her negatively, yeah, it probably would be. You know, when you work retail, a lot of these places just don't want to listen to reason, and I think that would be tougher for her. Like, that would have to be, like, planned way far in advance, have it scheduled or whatever, you know what I mean? The third factor is money, and the thing is, like, where would the money come from? I probably wouldn't have money saved up, you know what I mean? Do I really want to, like, go into debt over a trip? No, not really. I don't. You know, just being honest here. So, you know, if it got to a point where I had a little bit of liquidity and I could just afford to kind of pay for it out of pocket, as opposed to, oh, let's start racking up monstrous amounts of debt again, which is, you know, not what I want to do, you know, there you go. But it's something to think about in that regard, okay? But then lastly, there's family, all right? And family is a big concern because we have a cat. We don't have anyone who would, like, house sit and take care of Jasper while we were gone. So now what do? Jasper's never been away from us for a significant amount of time since we got him. So what do you do now when you have a cat that only has known spending time with you almost full time, 24/7 for many, many years? You know, to put him into like room and board or shelter could traumatize the poor guy, right? how do you know that when you actually, so let's say we got him somewhere to stay, that they're going to treat him nicely? You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a concern. Like, it definitely could be a big issue. So, you know, I don't know. Let's put it that way. You know, here's the thing is, you know, there's personal stuff too, admittedly as well, that influences that decision. I think, if anything, we would like to more rather just take a small trip somewhere than a giant honeymoon. But the problem is, where would we go? Like, at one point, we were gung-ho. We wanted to go to, like, Seattle. I'll be honest with you guys. Seattle is a shithole now. Seattle has fallen apart in the last few years. It's full of crime. I mean, there's crime in the middle of the places we used to like to go. Like Pike Place Market and stuff. There's crime every day. You see the reports. Like, oh, fucking robbery and this and that. You're like, what the fuck? Like, what happened in Seattle? The whole place fell apart. It really did. And it's sad because I don't want to talk politics, but Seattle's a place, when I moved here, I was like, oh, I like this because I'm like 45 minutes away from Seattle. And at any point I can drive. And since I've lived here, I probably went 2-3 times and enjoyed every trip. But that was all before things changed about 3 years ago. And now it's like everything around here, the crime has skyrocketed everywhere. People are getting robbed. Stores are getting robbed everywhere. So what the fuck? Why would I want to go to Seattle and put myself at personal risk? Right? So the thing, there's things we like, we want to do. We want to go to the Pop Culture Museum. We'd like to go to the Pacific Science Center. We'd like to go to Pike Place Market. We'd like to get a nice seafood dinner there on the waterfront. Go to the aquarium again. Maybe go on the Great Wheel again, which is, remember it was in Last of Us 2? Like, it would be really cool to do all that. But why would I want to do that when they can't control any of the people fucking out here, and there's constant high crime and everything, and they're even saying, oh yeah, Seattle has the lowest cop to resident ratio of any major city in the United States, that all the police quit. So basically now you go out there, it's like lawless. Oh, it sounds great. This is hilarious because listen to what Howard Baxter just said. No one will rob you at the big wheel or whatever at 4 in the afternoon. Howard Baxter. At my local mall in the afternoon in broad daylight with security cameras on, someone put a jack on my car and stole the entire tire off of my car. No one stopped them. No one cared. And the police never investigated the crime. So what the hell are you talking about? Yes, they're doing whatever they want and getting away with it out here. It's fucking sad. I'm not ranting politically. This is facts. You understand? Facts of how bad it's gotten out here. Okay? Anyway. To get back on subject, there's a lot of factors involved in us considering trying to go somewhere. So, you know, it is what it is. Right now, no, like I would definitely like to go to, say, the zoo for a day or something like that. And that's probably baby steps. First things first, if we're going to do something small and quick. Then maybe extend something a little longer. As for a full-fledged, like, honeymoon, probably not. And by the way, you may not be aware of this. In the United States, listen to this, they're changing the criteria to fly. By 2025, simply having your driver's license isn't good enough to fly in the United States anymore. They're making everyone change what they need. They got to go back to the fucking licensing offices. They have to get a new kind of ID and shit. And we already got it because my wife recently renewed her driver's license, and it came with it. It says, this license is only good to fly till 2025. Then in 2025, you got to get a whole new thing. And it's like, what? So now you have to fucking get all this elaborate shit. Spend more money, of course it's going to be, on top of what you already spent for your license and everything. Spend more money, jump through more hoops just to do basic shit. So I don't even know what it is. We didn't even look into it because right now we're not planning on flying anywhere anytime soon. But we're going to have to do this event. But by 2025, you want to leave your state via a plane, you have to fucking get some special ID shit. They won't even allow it. You know, besides, it's really stupid. So, anyway. There you go. All right. 672, thanks for the super chat. He says, ban everyone doing dollar tips. All right, so we're going to start with Snow Carl. Here we go. There you go. So you're banned. And also I got to ban, who was it? King Be Cruel. Sorry, King Be Cruel. Bye-bye. And done. Okay, both banned. Perfect. So thank you, 672, for the super chat. Okay. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm being told I shouldn't just listen to everything people tell me to do. And I should be a man for myself. Okay, let me unban those people. Here we go. Ready? And I unban. And unban. Okay. Oh, wait. Now I'm being told by listening to the person who said I should just be my own man, I was listening to someone telling me what to do, so I should unban. I should undo what I just did as a result of them telling me to do something. Okay, let me do that. We reban. Okay. Jasper, you nut. Watch out. Your back foot is on my leg, and I don't want you cutting me up like you did last time. All right? No cutting me up. Ah! You're welcome, Oxrace. How nice ear massage for the kitty. A nice ear massage for Jasper. Look, his eyes are closed. Jasper kitty. Hey, Jasper kitty. Say something, Jasper. 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 Jasper, say something. He won't talk. He never talks in here. I want him to say something to you guys, and he never will. He'll never speak. Come on, Jasper. Speak to the audience. Say something to the audience. He refuses. Jasper. Jasper. He won't speak. If I was outside of this office and I said Jasper to him like that, he would say, meow. He does it every time. He never does it here, though. He refuses. Here we go. Hi, Jasper. Hey, Jasper, what are you up to? Jasper. What are you doing, Jasper? He won't talk. He won't do it. I give up. I give up. I give up. I throw in the towel. Okay. Congrats, Derek. He's going to start attending college classes Monday through Wednesday. Good for you. Hope you do well. No, you can move from one state to another. You have to have a special ID to fly. Like right now, I could drive to any state, and in 2025, I could still drive across state lines to any state. But I would need a special ID to get on a plane. They would literally not allow you to get on a plane without a specialty ID with extra criteria that you have to pay for and qualify for. Oh, by the way, it's already been said, because this is happening, the backlog to get the ID is insane. Like right now, if I tried to get it, I might have to wait a year. Because everyone's trying to get it in time for 2025. It's not Real ID. Real ID is old. You're wrong. Real ID is old technology. I know because Kat has one. She got one when she moved out here. It's a different ID entirely from Real ID. What was I doing 22 years ago? Exactly 22 years ago. All right? Exactly 22 years ago. Which would have been, what? 2001? 2001. 22 years ago. 12:14 p.m. Actually, I don't know. Because I would have to figure out what was going on that day. That was September 11th, obviously. I don't remember what time everything went down that day. Because that day I remember I saw it all go down on TV. My mother and I were watching it together on TV. I still lived with my parents back then. And we were like freaking out about everything happening, wondering if the world was going to change, if we were going to go to war. Now, we had already had a day planned out. And that was back when I still, I would go out on nice days with my mother. And we had a nice day planned out where we were going to do some shopping. We were going to go to the mall. And we were actually maybe going to see a movie or get some food. And it sucked because, you know, the whole world was like now on suspend. No one knew what was going on. So we're like, well, what should we do? Well, I guess we'll still try to go out, but we don't know what's going to happen. So we went out and half the places were closed. We did go to the mall. And we went and talked to my former boss who ran the health food store that I used to work for there. And we had a conversation with him about it and everything. And basically just talked to random people we saw out and about. But then about halfway through the day, they closed everything. Everything just closed down. So we just went home. And that was about it. Okay. All right, Derek, see you later. I received a $2 super chat from Rich88. He says, is Portland safer than Seattle? I don't know. I don't live in Portland. I've heard horrible things about Portland, too. So I don't know if Portland's worse or better. I've heard that it's bad. But I don't know. I don't live there. No, I don't get to see my parents often anymore. I mean, when I lived in Connecticut, I saw them once a week. I always went out to dinner with them every Sunday night. But since I moved, I saw them Christmas the year I moved, which was 2014. And then in the summertime of 2016, they came out to visit. But then since then, their health has gone on a massive decline. They can't travel anymore. So then I went out to see them in 2019, and that's when I also got married. And that was the last time I've seen them. But I still talk to them once a week. Anything else? You guys have slowed down. You're not asking me questions anymore. What's going on? You have nothing to ask. You're done. It's boring. You think I'm a boring person. My life is boring. You have nothing to ask me. Wow. Canadian Kirk says, if you move to Canada, I'll sponsor you. I don't know. I've heard good things about Canada and bad things about Canada, too. I really have. So it seems like no matter what, nothing's perfect, no matter where you are. Oh, I just received a $4.20 tip from Big Larry Gaming. Thanks for sharing your story. It's moving to hear everyone's story from that day. Since I'm from Canada, it wasn't as big here, but a lot of people were really sad about it. Looking forward to your Lily tonight. She's a lot of fun to play. Thank you very much to Big Larry Gaming. Biggest tip of the day, $4.20. And I appreciate that. Okay. Well, King Be Cruel, the funny part about it is, because he's saying it's weird that some people move away from their parents, that I guess a lot of people live in a way that I want to be near my family for the rest of my life, right? If you want to know the truth of the matter, here's the truth of the matter. When I moved out here 9 years ago, okay, my aunt still lived out here, okay? And basically, here's what the plan was. My aunt was much older than my mother, all right? So, by like 20 plus years, yeah. My aunt is much older than my mother. So the plan, my aunt had lived out here in Washington her whole life and really liked it. And she had said, you know, all kinds of stuff about how nice it was out here and everything. And actually, at one point, my mother had gone on a vacation to spend time with her sister out here in Washington and really enjoyed it. So essentially, everything was, Washington's nice. We all kind of wish we could live out there. So the plan was supposed to be that I was going to move out here and then rent out my condo in Connecticut for a while until the value went up and I was going to sell it off. And then eventually everyone was supposed to move out here, like my parents too. Like, that was the plan. Like, we were all supposed to gradually move out here kind of one by one, you know, in groups until everyone lived in Washington. What ended up happening, sadly, was not that. What ended up happening was I moved out here, and then within like 2 or 3 years of me living out here, my aunt's health took a big turn for the worse. And it looked like my aunt might not make it much longer, and she wanted to be close to family, but my parents had not planned on moving out here yet, and they had no game plan or strategy for it. So my aunt moved to Connecticut. And at first, she lived in my condo. She lived there for several years in my condo as a tenant and was actually paying me rent to kind of live there for many years. Which was nice because it was extra income for me to offset the cost of that condo. But then she ended up like getting really, really ill, and they had to put her into hospice care. And then she ended up within a year or two of that passed away. So basically kind of all of that stuff got thrown into like a big loop, a big problem, because our plans kind of fell apart based on my parents didn't move fast enough to move out here, which they should have. That was the plan, is that they wanted to move out here within a couple of years, and they never did, and that's their fault. And then my aunt's health turning and her moving to Connecticut instead, and then her health getting worse and worse and passing away, and that kind of really changed everyone's plans. Now it's too late. Now, I told you, my parents, they have all these health problems. They can't even like move or travel if they wanted to. They're not supposed to. They're not allowed. So, yeah, it's just messed up. Like, they're kind of stuck there forever now in Connecticut. So it's like we weren't supposed to be apart forever. It would have been nice if they could have moved out here. Maybe they could have lived even in this community. There's been house openings, or maybe they could have lived. I mean, there's apartments. There's all kinds of stuff nearby where they could have been, and we could have all been in within arm's reach. It would have been perfect. But for some reason, it didn't work out. And, you know, I was the one that followed the plan. That's correct. They're on the no-fly list. They're not allowed to fly. I just said health reasons. For health reasons, they would never be able to travel. All kinds of issues. Well, thank you, King Be Cruel. He says he wishes your family the best. Radical Jaws did a super chat. He says, I'm glad you don't dwell on it. Yeah, I mean, what can you do? Listen, life is life. Things happen in life that don't go according to plan, and you roll with it the best you can. Would I love to be near my parents right now and be able to see them once a week, spend time with them? I mean, my wife has only met them once. We talk all the time. Every week we have a conversation, you know, all together, but she's only met them in person once. And we've been married for many years. You know what I mean? Would I love to have that relationship with them? Of course I would. I loved going and seeing them for the holidays and spending time with the family. You know, my mother always having a nice house full of warm food and great scents and everything. And, you know, yeah, I do miss that, but it's life. That wasn't the plan. The plan wasn't, oh, move away permanently forever and never see them. You know, that wasn't supposed to be what was supposed to happen, but shit happens, right? Okay. Game Genie says he's loving the Armor Core playthrough. He's tried using this new build I'm using and it rocks. He loves it. No, you know, and I firmly believe that. Like Phaser says, life worked itself out in the end. You went across the country, you ended up becoming single, but then you met your wife and it was in the cards. Exactly. If things didn't work out the way that they did, I never would have met my wife. And I would not be in a happy healthy home life that is such the. I keep telling you guys this, and I hope you really believe me when I say it. This is the best time of my life. Right now, this moment, these times I'm living now are the best time of my life. When I was younger, I wasn't nearly as happy as I am today. Every day that I spend with my family here, we have a great time together. It's really amazing. And I'm like, this is what I've kind of always wanted. I just didn't know it until I had it. Once I got it, I was like, wow, this is amazing. I wouldn't ever want to be without this. This is so good, you know? And I think a lot of people are in that same boat. They kind of don't know what they're missing because they never had that really positive experience of having a loving family. I hate to say it, you know? I mean, yes, when I was with my parents, that's one thing. But to actually have a relationship with another person or whatever, and a family unit, it feels amazing. So I really do feel like you're right. As sad as it is that I don't get to see my parents a lot, I never would have the actual family life that I have now if I didn't go through what I went through. You know what I mean? So it all you're right. It does work out in the end, for sure. Let's see. I received a $5 tip from Jimmy James Jr. He says, dude, listen to what he's typing. Providing you with the correct information on the real ID. DHS.gov/real ID. So I guess what you're saying is you go to the website dhs.gov/real-ID. Because here's the thing. When Kat was moving out here many years ago, we already were being told, oh, her ID won't be good after a certain amount of time. She's going to need to get this real ID. She did. Like, she has a real ID. But then she just renewed her license, and it said in the paperwork that came with her license, it's not good anymore. In 2025, you need to get a whole new one if you want to fly. But we already got her the real ID. So why is it saying it's no good? So are they just saying everyone has to get a whole new thing by 2025? Even if you had the real ID previous, it's not good anymore? That's what they're telling her. So I don't know. I'm just telling you what they've told us. You know, we were trying to future-proof when she moved out here. We're like, let's future-proof. At least she'll be good because she already had to get a new thing and everything anyway. So let's get her the big deluxe high-up one so that way she has everything covered just in case. And now we're being told it's no good. We did all that for nothing. So I don't know. I just don't know. And I don't think anyone knows. I think that's where the confusion is coming in and why everyone's so pissed off about this. So, Jimmy James Jr., Triple J, thank you for the $5 tip. Sadly, it still doesn't make sense, and I'm still confused. Why is it that a real ID that we got in 2018 is no longer valid for a requirement coming in 2025, unless you're telling me it's really not the real ID? It's something different that they're doing, but they're calling it the same thing. It doesn't make sense. Excuse me. Woo. It's real ID. It's the same thing. Then why did they say hers isn't good? Does it make sense? We went through this big elaborate thing. We had to bring even more stuff. We had to get even more stuff for her qualifying. Like me, my license, not that big of a deal. But for her, when we got her the real ID, it was like, you got to have this and this and this, improve this and this. And it was a pain in the ass to get it. And we got it for her because we were worried they were going to, because originally it was supposed to be for like 2018, but then they changed the criteria. They bumped it, they bumped it, they bumped it, they kept bumping it. So now I guess eventually now it's 2025, even though they keep bumping it. But I don't know. You know, I'm confused. Passport's even worse. I've heard passport process is even worse than the ID. Seriously. That passports are backed up by like 2 years if you want a passport. All right, Jade, I hear you. I know you can't really watch Armored Core. Well, good to see you though. Good to see you here. I'm getting hit with ridiculous questions. That's why I'm not answering anything. It's just ridiculous questions. We're just having a giant segment about how travel wouldn't be possible right now unless we planned it out. Would you ever go to Greece? Well, maybe, but we just said if you can't go to a normal place, why would I fly across to Europe? Like, what are you talking about? I've already answered that question too. If I could eat one food for the rest of my life, it would be nothing. Because I'm a guy who likes variety. I get sick of the same thing if I eat it all the time or do it all the time. I would hate no matter what it is. It could be my favorite food today. It would be my most hated food next week if I ate it all week. That's how I am. Yes, Jasper is having fun, but he's gone. He left the room. He probably went to go be comfy somewhere. He's probably under one of the dressers. Yes, of course. I'm being asked, could I take 672 in a hand-to-hand combat fight? Of course. You may not realize this, but those of us who kind of look like this, like the Steven Seagal kind of look, we all have innate Aikido skills. Even me sitting here in this chair, I could disarm several people at once. They just come at me, and I just instinctively twist the arm. I don't have to get up. That's how good it is. You know, it's just one of those natural things. There you go. Paradox says, careful, you nearly dislocated my arm with that. Be careful about that. I was at Boston when I was young. I went to Boston to check out colleges. Yep. And I went and looked at Boston College, BC. And I actually was offered a partial scholarship there. But the partial scholarship, even with the partial scholarship there, the cost of living there was very high. And because of that, even though I actually really liked the campus and I liked the town, I was like, you know, I would really love to go to college here. I kind of made the decision that I would just go to college in Connecticut so I wouldn't put my parents, like, into monstrous debt. Because I already had student loans. Like, here's the thing. When you're going to college in the United States, it's insane how expensive it is, okay? So, the deal is, you can take out student loans to a certain amount. Sometimes your parents have to take out student loans. You know what I mean? So, I had a bunch of loans in my name. They still, like, I went to college in Connecticut. And I had loans in my name. I swear my parents had money out in their name too to help pay for it. And even then I was in debt for years and years, and it wasn't until the early days of kind of becoming a YouTuber that I was able to finish paying off all of my student loans, right? And I think the discussion was, if I went to BC, the cost would have been so high that my parents would have had to take out an insane amount of debt. And they, you know, they were willing to do it. But at the end of the day, I didn't want to put them through that. I was like, can you imagine? Now, not only me paying these student loans, but they'd have to pay student loans and everything. And I didn't do it. I just decided to just stay in Connecticut because of it. Which I don't know how life would have worked out if I went to BC. I have no clue. I would have been away from my friends and stuff that were an influence on me at that time of my life. So I probably would have had a completely different friend group and everything. Who knows how it would have turned out? I have no idea. Jasper. Did you guys hear that? Jasper. We have a meowing kitty. Jasper. We had a good meow on stream for once. Finally, I got a meow out of him. It took ages. We got to get a clip of that. We got to get a clip of that. A nice little YouTube short of Jasper Kitty meowing. Only the second time on stream. But that's what he does all the time. When I say his name, he'll just start meowing to me. Whoa, there he goes. There he goes. He slipped. Like I said, you can't add a cat camera because he doesn't stick around. He doesn't stay in one spot. If he did, if he had one spot he loved in the room, I absolutely would have a cat camera. Now, Jasper, stop that. He's going to start pulling wires again. You're not going to do that. No, Jasper, you're not. Jasper, stop, release. You're not going to chew my wires. No, you're not going to do that. But, no, he doesn't have one spot he stays in. If he did, like, let's say he had one favorite spot he was laid in or whatever, I mean, absolutely, I would do a cat camera or whatever, right? So, but no, like, there's no point in trying to set one up because he would never stay in the same spot. Don't do that. Jasper, stop right now. You're not going to chew my wires. He just wants attention is what it is. He wants my attention. He wants my attention. Stop this right now. He's biting me now. Look, he's biting my arm. Arr, he's biting my elbow. How dare you bite my arm and my elbow viciously? You vicious brute. How could you? He's full of energy. No, you're not going to bite my wire. Stop that right now. Okay. Jasper, stop that right now. He wants my attention so badly. Wait, you want me to get a toy or something? You're being so silly. I'm trying to do a podcast. I have a shout outs to do. I can't do them. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I received another $5 tip from Dwight. He says, I always hear your fans ask you what you had for dinner. They never ask what you had for breakfast or lunch. What kind of meals do you eat before your first stream of the day? Almost exactly the same thing every day. Usually I have a bagel with some cream cheese and a black coffee. Almost every single day, that's what I eat. It depends, what bagel? Usually it's plain. Sometimes it's onion. Sometimes it's everything. It depends on what they have at the local store. What kind of cream cheese? Usually it's like a veggie cream cheese or something like that. Sometimes it's like the one that has the chives in it. Sometimes it's just plain. But that's almost every single day. For a while there, I was having those freaking microwave burrito things, which they're all right. They have some protein in them, but they're also very salty, so they're not great for you. So that's why I kind of cut them out of the diet, and now I just have the bagel. No, I never put honey on a bagel. No, I have not. So that's my typical breakfast. Yes, black coffee to get me ready for my stream, and a bagel with some cream cheese. Gives me the energy I need to get through the first stream. Do I like honey mustard sauce with McNuggets? Oh, if I were to get McNuggets, I'd probably either get barbecue, sweet and sour, or honey mustard. One of those three. When I was younger, I always got the sweet and sour sauce. I like that McDonald's sweet and sour. It's nothing like sweet and sour anywhere else. It doesn't taste like authentic Asian sweet and sour that you get like Chinese food. It's totally different. But I like the way that their sauce goes with their McNuggets. I've never eaten lox. No, I don't know what lox would be like on a bagel. I don't know what they taste like. I almost never eat ice cream. Like, rarely ever. I couldn't tell you the last time I had it. Lox is salmon? Oh, see, I didn't even know that. I didn't know it was salmon. The last time we tried to get ice cream, it was about 2 months ago. It was a random night. And my wife says, I really want ice cream. I'm craving it. And I said, well, let's order it then. And so there's a Dairy Queen near us, only maybe like 10 minutes away, not even 5 minutes away. And we're like, well, let's order. So we're going to get blizzards, right? We each order a blizzard. We put the order in. It says it'll be like 5-10 minutes for delivery because it's close. All of a sudden it updates, 45 minutes for your delivery. What? The local Dairy Queen doesn't want to do delivery. They always say they're eligible, and every time we've ever tried to order from them, they decline the order, and then it gets bumped to a different Dairy Queen. The nearest Dairy Queen outside is 45 minutes away. So I'm like, do I really think I want a 45-minute wait for ice cream? Do you really think it's not going to be melted when it shows up? So I contacted the delivery service. I explained, and they're like, okay, we're just going to credit you for everything. So they did. So, yeah, there's something up with our local Dairy Queen that they suck, and they don't want to accept delivery orders for some reason. So they always decline them, and then it gets bumped, and we're like, well, forget it. So... Now Jasper scratched me. He scratched my leg when he was jumping on me. I got a big scratch. And also, my arm is scratched up. So I got to go disinfect now. Because I have a scratch here, and a scratch here. And if I don't disinfect it, I'll be itchy all day. By the way, I heard something pretty... Well, I didn't hear something. I read an article like 2-3 months ago. Most hilarious article I ever read. Because, you know, news today isn't really news anymore. It says, so if you get scratched or injured, you should not use alcohol, nor should you use peroxide to disinfect your wound anymore. That's old tech. Don't do it anymore. All right? So what does this doctor recommend you do? Well, does alcohol disinfect your wound? Yes, it does. Instantly, it'll disinfect your wound. So why don't you want to use alcohol? Oh, because if you use alcohol, all right, it's an astringent, and the astringent actually makes it that it takes longer to heal. I'm serious, is what it said. That the body's natural process of healing is better than just using alcohol or peroxide, okay? So what does the doctor recommend you do? Here's the doctor's recommendation in this article I read. So if you have a scratch like I have right here on my arm, wash it with soap and water, okay? Don't dress the wound. The wound must be left open to heal properly. So you can't dress it. But at the same time, you can't use any disinfectant on it whatsoever, and you have to ensure that that wound literally stays unaffected by anything all day long. You can't rub it against anything. You can't do anything. Just make sure that that's like perfectly protected. So according to the fucking doctor, right? You need to have like a bubble on your arm or your leg where you got scratched to make sure that you don't have anything touch it, because if anything touches it, it could get infected. You see? So as long as you wash with soap and water, and then you'll leave it opened and completely exposed, you can't cover it, but you also got to make sure nothing touches it throughout the entire course of the day, then that's the best way to have a wound heal. Right? So on what fucking planet can you get a scratch on your body and you don't have to do anything for the rest of the day? Oh, I'm just going to leave my arm up like this to make sure nothing touches it for the rest of the day, right? Because if something touches it, I might get infected. That's what the doctor said to do. You know, I could easily just pour alcohol on it and solve this whole problem right fucking now. It may take, you know, another extra day to fully heal, but who cares about that? I got to use the doctor's fucking, you know, advice. So let me leave my arm up in a sling for a scratch to make sure nothing touches it, right? I read these articles these days, and I'm like, Does anyone actually like vet anything anymore? Or do people just publish something for the sake of getting like clickbait? Because that's what it was. It was a clickbait article. Doctor says don't use alcohol anymore to disinfect. And like, the thing that everyone's been fucking doing forever, that tried and true scientifically works, and everyone knows, which is why every first aid kit, every fucking ambulance has this. They're all wrong. This doctor's broken the case, apparently, right? It's just complete bullshit, you know? You're reading, like, are you out of your mind? It's like, yeah, so in the ideal state, so here's what you should do. According to the doctor, if I got a scratch on my cheek, enclose yourself in a protective bubble for the day. Make sure that absolutely no one has any interaction with you. Because if anyone even breathes your way, bacteria could hit the scratch, and now you're infected because you didn't disinfect your wound because you're an idiot. You didn't use the astringent to close the wound so it won't get infected. Great. Anyway, thank you to John for a $5 super chat. And he said, so by the way, I disinfected everything. I put alcohol here, here, and on my leg here. It hurt worse on the leg, so that must have been the worst scratch. It's hilarious. It's right next to the scar from the other scratch from the other month when he scratched me when he jumped on my lap. Anyway, so John tipped me $5. No, excuse me. John did a $5 super chat. He said, I found you today through reaction to your own DSP rabbit hole video and then through your Armored Core 6 gameplay. Excited to see more. Keep it up. Thank you. And actually, it's time to get started. This podcast actually has gone pretty long. So I think we'll end it now. Thank you guys. This was definitely a chill show. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for the early support before we even got to the gameplay. And, excuse me. Hopefully tomorrow, I'll have updates for all of you on how Armored Core went. And also on progress in Street Fighter. It would be great to be saying, guess what? I ranked up even further with Lily. But I guess we'll see how today goes. You never know, right? You never know. It could go either way. But I wish you all the best. I hope you enjoyed the show. And I hope to see you tomorrow for another one. Peace out, my friends. Okay. All right, so guys, as we get switched over and set up, the good news is I'm going to pee, but I don't have to do anything big.